Hey guys, welcome back to the Photoshop series. So we have completed the first module, and that's the interface and introduction module, and from this video onwards we'll be covering the tool section. So as I mentioned, this panel deals with the whole tools that's available in Photoshop. Okay, so I categorize the tools like into selection tools, brushes, pen tools, text tool, custom shape tool, and some other handy tools like hand tool and zoom tool. So in this video we'll be covering the selection tools. So the tools that comes under the selection tools will be move tool, marquee tool, lasso tool, quick selection tool, crop tool, and the eyedropper tool. So if you come over here, you can see a small tiny triangle in the bottom right corner of the selection. So what does that mean? It actually means that you have some different types of that particular tool available in Photoshop. Okay, so if you right click over here in the marquee tool, you can see there are different types of there are 4 types of marquee tool available for you. Okay, so that's the basic concept behind that small tiny triangle in the bottom right corner. Now if you open an example, you can see it's an example with the different layers. Now if you consider move tool, so what is this move tool used for? It is actually used for moving the layers. So now this particular layer is selected, so if you move this layer using the you can move that particular layer using the move tool. Okay, so if you choose this layer, you can move that particular layer using the move tool. It's the same case with the every layers. Okay, now that's all about the move tool. Now if you enable the auto select feature, you can actually move any layer without actually selecting that particular layer in the layers panel. Okay, so that's all about the auto selecting feature in move tool. Now if you come out to the marquee tool, what it actually does is it actually helps you to create rectangular or even square selections. Now if you need to create some selection with a fixed aspect ratio like 1:1, if you create something, then the aspect ratio will be fixed. You can never change that aspect ratio. Okay, if you create choose another aspect ratio like 16:9, then the selections that you draw will be created with that particular aspect ratio of 16:9. Okay, now if you suppose you need to create a selection with a fixed size like 250 pixels and 512 pixels. Now if you click in the document, you can see that particular selection is created using the size that you have given. Okay, so that's all about the functions over here. And by the way, for every tool, as I mentioned, for every tool there are a bunch of options available, and that options will be displayed over here in this panel. Okay, so if you come over here, you can see there's some other options like addition, subtraction, and intersection. So what is meant by addition? For example, if you draw one selection and then draw another selection, then these two selections will be combined if you enable the addition option. Okay, so the basic concept behind the addition selection is to add every selections that you are making. Okay, now if you select the subtract option, you create one selection and then you create another selection, then the difference between these two selections will be the final selection. For example, this is the first selection and I am going to draw the second selection. Now the resultant selection will be the difference of second selection from the first selection. Okay, so that's the subtracting selection. And now the intersecting selection, it actually the intersecting area of those two selections. Okay, intersecting area of the particular selections. Okay, now what is meant by feather? In simple words, Feather defines the softness of the edges of the selections that you're creating. For example, you draw one selection and create one new layer, and then fill that particular layer with the color. Okay, now if we zoom in, we can see the side is crisp and clear. Okay, now by the way, if you create one selection, to deselect this particular selection you can use the shortcut Ctrl D. Okay, so if you increase the feather and then create another selection and then fill it with the color, now you can see the softness of that particular edge is increased. So basically feather determines the softness of the edges of the selection that you're creating. Okay, now that's all about the options that are available in the options panel. Now if you choose the elliptical marquee tool, the case is the same. You can draw ellipse, or you can use the shift and alt shortcut key for a fixed aspect ratio, so you can draw a perfect circle. Okay, you can draw a perfect circle. So the same case with the addition, subtraction and intersection option, as well as the feather. Okay, now the next tool is the lasso tool. It is a pretty simple tool. It is actually used to just draw the selection. Okay, just to draw the selection, and then the same case with the addition, and then subtraction, and then the intersection. Okay, as well as the feather. Okay, now let's come over to the polygonal tool. It actually helps you to, or enables you to, draw selection in the form of polygons. So it's pretty simple, and you have the addition, subtraction, intersection, as well as the feather features. And the next tool is the magnetic lasso tool. Okay, so how it work is, it actually captures the edges of the images or the objects that's available in your image. Okay, it won't be actually it won't be perfectly accurate, but it's handy. It enables you to select the objects in your particular image easily. Okay, so for the sake, we shall open a different example. So if you come over here, you can see if you use the magnetic lasso tool, it selects the objects from your image pretty easily. Okay, so that's all about the magnetic lasso tool. Now if you come over to the quick selection tool, now quick selection tool actually work on the basis of the color that's available in your particular image. If you select over here, it's basically selecting the portion with the same color composition. Okay, and it's actually like a brush. You can increase the size of the brush or the hardness of the features. Okay, now by default the addition option will be enabled, so the different selections that you make will be combined together to form a final selection. Okay, now if you select the subtracting option, then you can subtract from the selections that you have made. Okay, so quick selection tool is pretty handy if you need to select some images or objects from your particular image in a faster way. Okay, so now let's deal with the magic wand tool. So it's actually pretty simple. It select the portion of your image which have the same color composition. Okay, so if you press over here, it select the portions with the same color composition which has a continuous color composition. For example, if you come over here, you can see it's a black area. Now if you press here using the magic wand tool, then the area which have that particular color composition will be selected. Okay, the tolerance of that selection of magic wand tool can be altered here. If you increase the tolerance of that particular magic wand tool, you can see the amount of area that been selected will be increased. Okay, now that's all about the magic wand tool. Now let's come to the crop tool. It is pretty simple. It enables you to crop your document. Now after when you have finished cropping, if you press enter, then the whole image will be cropped to that particular size that you want. Okay, so that's all about the crop tool, and we have discussed about the eyedropper tool as well. So in this video we have completed the basic tools that we oftenly use for selecting in Photoshop. Okay, so that's all about this video, and if you like this video, please don't forget to hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for the latest updates. And in the next video we'll be covering the brushes. So until then, take care and thank you.